There are different dimensions, and within these different dimensions are different worlds that you are soon to embark upon. Twilight Zone. Welcome, family. Welcome. Oh. Today's discussion. Hold on. Today's discussion is on alchemy. What do we really know and understand about alchemy? I'm trying to find some music to get us started here. I know I started with the intro of the Twilight Zone, but I also would like to have some music that's Saturday night. It's so sweet. So sweet. Yeah, I wanted to go talk on alchemy today. what do we really understand? Evidently, we don't understand alchemy. We're not told the right things about it. Um, the truth of it. I forgot something. All right, I'm back. Sorry about that. I won't hold you too long in this live stream here. But melanin is the vehicle towards freedom. Unknowingly, our people have chosen to give up their melanin in many different ways. They have chosen to not believe in themselves, not love themselves, not even attempt to go down the journey that they have been chosen to go down. They have chosen to take to learn. I'm back, family. I'm sorry. Welcome, Conscious of Truth, Conscious of Genocide. Hey there. Well, basically, the journey that they have chosen, they have allowed themselves not to actually be able to just learn from those journeys, but they have engaged themselves so much into it that they have gotten about trying to learn from these journeys that they have taken. Instead of falling deep into the ideologies that we fall upon throughout our journeys, they have chosen to allow these ideologies to become a belief, become a part of them. And they dismiss themselves in the process, totally dismiss themselves in the process. Um, they have, in my experience, entrapped themselves again back into this physical existence quite unknowingly without seeking the understanding of self. Um, ah, it's all about liver too. Tough. They have really believed that they have really allowed themselves to believe that what has controlled us and subjugated us is the right way to exist. When in all reality, we know within ourselves that the balanced way is the right way to exist because it's our natural biological way and it's our only biological way. And to we struggle to go the path of the unbalance. But we dismiss those struggles to endure and to enjoy what we believe or understand at the moment to be something better and bigger than ourselves. At the time, at the moment, we really believe this to be bigger and better than ourselves because we think of this to be reality when it's just a polar world to the world that we live in, actually. So we never get the chance to really experience our world, our own world, but we experience another world. And in that experience of another world, we don't um, we don't experience it with comfort. We experience it with much discomfort and disease. But beyond that, regardless of that, we still think the little piece of the thing we call life, because life even isn't what we think of it as, as people. Yeah, what we've been made to believe life is not. So Because life comes from within, just like all other things. All things come from within us, our existence. I meditated and thought over the fact that life isn't what I was taught it to be. And today the revelation came to me that life was something totally different than what I was told it to be. Just not the physical life, but there is something beyond that that is better than that. And I get a glimpse, we get a glimpse as a people, we get a glimpse of it, I should say. We get a taste of it when we're sitting and we're enjoying the scenery. That's life. What is within us. It comes from within to make us stop and take notice of that. That's real life. It's not what we think it is physically, but it's the spiritual. It's the spiritual that comes out of appreciating what we are viewing in the spirit, in this physical world, because both worlds are parallel to each other, but they have collided, and we are both the spiritual and the physical. That's a balanced alchemy. That's balanced alchemy. The unbalanced alchemy is just being the physical. You're just stuck in the physical because you're just animated. You're just animal, like the animals. A lot of times we think, where does the dogs go? Do the dogs go to heaven? Does the dogs have some afterlife? No, this is it for them. They don't turn into human spirits. They don't. It just doesn't happen that way. What's animal, what's animated is stuck on the lower plane. This is alchemy. This is partial alchemy, understanding of alchemy. It's not all of it, but it's a small piece of it. It's understanding the animation that we have on this planet that is without balance. We understand animal only in one sense, but it's not even what taps into the whole idea of it. The animal is the animation, something that doesn't have the wholeness to it, that make up the civilization, the civil part of it. We know animals aren't civil. They live off of survival because they don't have the soul, the solar system, the sun, the life giver. They have a piece, but they don't have the whole because they came after they're the creation after the creator. When we look at the biology in the mind of the animal, the mind of the animal is not spiritual minded whatsoever. It just exists in the physical, and it exists only to eat, kill, survive. Eat, kill, and survive. It has no sense of any other emotions. Although it seems like it has some other emotions. But those emotions are not like that of the soul system. It's just a piece. It's just half of it. It's not the whole. It's not a whole because it can stop itself to a certain point. Like, for example, I had a pet. It couldn't think enough to understand that if it ran out in the middle of the street after me, it was going to get hit by a car. But it knew that it wanted to follow me. It wanted to follow me. It had an emotion, my dog. He had an emotion towards, he sensed that I was sad. He sensed that I was sad and he wanted to come to my needs as a pet. Its instincts. But its mind could not reach a level which it was stuck at a level of understanding, protecting itself, or to think out the whole scenario that maybe I would be back eventually. It couldn't think like that. It couldn't conceive that. It just has, the thought process is stuck at a certain position, a certain level. So my dog was killed by a truck. And that was it. I never never was able to, I didn't see it get killed or anything. It was gone after that, my pet. There are always levels to thinking. And the more closer you are to the solar, the more solar soul you have in the body, the more higher your thought process is. The less soul, the less sun, the less solar system you have in the body, the further you are in thought process. The further the level you are on the lower level, when you cannot understand, when you cannot comprehend anything beyond the physical existence, besides survival, killing, and eating, and pleasure. Because a dog often thinks about pleasure, eating, and survival. They need, animals need, once you domesticate them, they need you to be close to them. They need you to make them happy. Because you notice when you come in the door of your house, the dog wags his tail. The dog is happy, excited to see you. So that's pretty much the dog's existence. Unfortunately, since man has taken it upon himself to bring dog in and domesticate him, which is the worst thing to do because a dog needs to be in his nature. See, nature doesn't need civilization. It's the animal that wants to be in civilized that needs civilization. Nature will have you going with the course of your nature. There's laws and rules within your nature that prevents you from doing certain things. When you need those things created for you, you are a domesticated animal. You are domesticated animation. Because you need rules and laws. And your rules and laws are not written in your heart. Your rules and laws are written on paper, outside of yourself. So that doesn't make a huge man. That makes the animal man. Because he needs a list of rules and laws outside of himself because he does not feel within himself nature pulling him, guiding him the ways he's supposed to go, the path. He has no path. So he needs what they call a path written out on paper. Or guided to them by parents. Parents have to guide their children because their children have no guidance within themselves. It's not a natural connection that they have. It's a disconnect. And even that's not guaranteed. Parents guiding is not a guarantee. That's the difference between the animal and emotion and the spiritual world. Spiritual world, you know what you come equipped with because it's you've given the understanding of yourself. When you're not given the understanding of yourself, all you can do is mimic the animation. All you can do is imitate what you see on the surface. You don't know and don't understand. You're all mixed up and screwed up inside of yourself because you don't know yourself. You don't understand yourself and you don't hear the voice within because you're so far removed. That's alchemy. And when you take on what they call it recessive genes, but it's not recessive genes. You got to understand alchemy. You got to understand what the biological makeup is. If it's totally different than you are, the biological makeup is going to change. This is logic. family logic, simple biological logic. Anything different, you take a whole different chemical background liquid breakdown of that liquid that's totally different, doesn't share anything with the other liquid. You mix the two liquids. One, all it's going to be is a net mixture. All it's going to be is a mixture. It's no dominant, no recessive in that. It's just a mixture. Because they don't share anything alike. So one is not dominant over the other. It's just breaking down chemically. It just hooked into each other. One is not dominant than the other. When we talk about biology. But after mixing that liquid, you take another liquid. You take the liquid that you mixed with the other liquid. Let's say what liquid are we going to go with? Let me look at the liquids. Okay. Liquid, first let's define liquid. A substance that flows freely but is of constant volume, having a consistency like that of water or oil. It's not like you are mixing water with lemonade, um, or water with Kool-Aid. But water with Kool-Aid will give you a dominance of Kool-Aid. You'll get more of that sugar and powder. Will take over the water, and you won't have no more just water taste. You'll have a sweetness. So it's not like that. I don't mean it like to be like that. But what I'm meaning it to be like is totally different biologically when you're talking about chemicals, because alchemy is all about the blackness. So when you add something to that, you break down your blackness. You're breaking down the abilities, the capabilities, the extraordinary ways that melanin works. You're breaking it down. You're getting rid of it. All because you've been told what you believe in this reality, you believe this place as your reality and what it has to say, instead of questioning, why does this exist against me as soul. You go ahead and say, well, okay, I agree. I have nothing about myself as a dark matter being of light. It's depressing to say that this world is it, to say that everything that we see is it. That if that everything was it in this world, that would be very deeply, seriously depressing. Because it would be nothing. It would be in the nothingness. The nothingness. Because as you can see, we as a people, we don't even have no cohesiveness in this existence. We don't even like ourselves in this existence. We praise something else that we believe is it for some reason. Just because it's able to dominate and make itself seem like it's it. Anything can do that. Anything can do that. A dog could do that. A dog can dominate itself in your house and just by its ways to make you think it's it. To make you think by just being there, moments that you're crying, going and fetching your shoes for you and bringing it to you, by just the mere thing, little things that it does, it can dominate you and make you think that it has something about it, as my dog did one day. It made me think that it had some sense of what I was going through. But then it was murdered by the car, by a truck. Okay. We understand there's two different melanins. There's your melanin and melanin. What you do is alchemy is exactly what we're seeing going on in our society today. Alchemy is where the weaker, lower level, stuck at a level in the physical level, thinking, can't go beyond that, has convinced the higher people of the higher capabilities of freeing themselves from them. Melanin is the vehicle to freedom. But because we don't comprehend that in this existence, we lose, many lose out. Many lose out because they think that freedom, they get it confused with free to be dumb. In this existence, with free, the real word freedom, they get free to be dumb mixed up and confused with freedom. No liberties, no capabilities, just dead people. But that's what they choose because they have no, and when you don't, the consequences say for every action, there's a reaction. And when your actions is that of the level, it can only give you back that level. So if you're not able to comprehend or think higher, that's where you get stopped. That's alchemy. You get stuck on that level because you made a decision to go through this, even though you know how hard life is out here for you. You think that the only way is to free to be dumb instead of free, the real freedom, liberation. And that only comes through the black man and black woman together. It doesn't come any other way. I hate myself for coming to tell you this, but it doesn't come no other way. We are the energy above and below, within and out. The gods above are within. If you can Imagine that. The gods above are nothing more in clash with the titans, the gods that he was talking to, or within himself all along. If they weren't, why would he do what they were telling him to do? He was those gods. The being was the gods. The gods was his consciousness in the brain, upper brain, in his heart, in his mind. And they were talking to him on the planet himself. But when you refuse to hear that, I guess we get what we, every action has a reaction, every consequence. It's a consequence for everything we do. Every action has a consequence. And are Black people naive to racism? What do they think racism is? Do they think racism is what this world has taught you to be on the surface? Taught you it was on the surface only? Or is it something deeper about racism that we don't see, that the war has been waged against us, and whiteism, or what they call whiteism, but is not whiteism, it's animalism, has been falling upon our people to take hold of because we've been given a fictional existence that isn't, that doesn't exist. Not anywhere, not even in Twilight Zone. Not even in Twilight Zone does that work exist because it's alchemy. Alchemy. And alchemy is the secret war. You don't won't even see waged against you because by the time your generation after you have become all animated, all your children have become all animated. No soul within them, no abilities, no capabilities, no nothing about them. All because in the name of fictional love, the peace, the fictional peace, the illusion of peace, the illusion of love has allowed you to give up your reality of freedom for free to be done. That's what we have done. We have given up our true reality to be free to be done. Free to be done is to give up the melanin, which is the vehicle to escape, to get out of the lower realm. Because hot energy is coming. When hot energy comes, what happens to the low energy beings? They cannot live. They get cancer, they get diseases. Diseases, high rate. That's why they want to vaccine us, because they want to vaccine the world, because they think everything is basically it's just a way of holding us down, because basically we don't need the vaccine. The high energy is coming, causing disease within them. So they think that we need the vaccines so they won't get sick. But it doesn't work like that. The vaccines are what makes you sick. When you get something that is not, as Black people, we don't need suntan lotion. We don't need SPF to protect our skin. from radiation or any of that stuff. Those things don't count towards us. We're a whole different extraterrestrial being. Those things only count towards the other beings. But what it does is it harms us and causes cancer in us when we use that mess. It causes other issues with our biology. I used to wear SPF protection, and I ended up having issues with my thyroid, issues with other things. It's just like a car, because we are computers. We are what computers will built up to be exist as. And they come from our makeup. So when you just end up having one issue after another issue, when you unbalanced. But I see around me so many people bringing these unbalanced children, confused children, children of war into the world, and thinking it's children of peace. By no means it's children of peace. It's always going to be children of war. It's always going to be something that's destructive. You cannot bring two polar opposites together and think that that's peace. By no means is that peace. That's destruction. That's destruction of one world trying to feed off of another world. One world feeding off of another world, destroying it. And alchemy is given to remind us so we can learn and understand that about biology. But we've been lied to from it. We've been lied to about the whole thing. We've been lied to. And we believe and we go with that ideology. Two opposite worlds one cannot be dominant over the other. That's not how it works. Basically, and then you take psychology in consideration with all that. You take psychology, you have your psychology, you have your mathematics in there, you have your psychology, mathematics, and your biology. Because we have to look at how the other biology, the animated biology that is soulless, comes and creates its own um, it changes the biology of the blackness. It changes. It's a change that comes about. It's not recessive and dominant. It comes along and dilutes. It changes the biology. It dormants melanin. Melanin becomes dormant. Melanin becomes dormant. That's why we're here today, dormant and stuck as a people, trying to find liberation and freedom. We're stuck here. Let that sink in. I get me another glass of wine. We're stuck here trying to find liberation and freedom. Yes, we are. We stuck here trying to find liberation and freedom after being admixed. You can say I'm crazy. You can say I'm uneducated. But what's education? Because the first man that learned all this stuff didn't get it from a book. But that's simple. It took a spiritual notion, understanding to get everything down first in the first place. All that came from the soul. It didn't come from nowhere else. You can't get it from another man. The first man couldn't get it from another man. He had to. Well, anyway, family, you figure it out. You do the math in that. It's only nine numbers in that. They came along and duplicated up all the numbers and made every year. You wonder why math changes for our children, because they have to make it. They have to sit and figure out how to make it more difficult, more challenging, trying to get their minds to rise high and our minds to stay low, because they put us in this predicament of admixture, alchemy, where we are stuck. So the soul, the melanin within, is the key to peace. But we choose to listen, and we choose to join and to believe all the ideologies, the lies, the everything, and give up our melanin. We dye in our skin, for crying out loud. You see a dark skinned sister just all of a sudden turn pale, more paler than whatever. Pale skin, just pale. And want the blue, she doesn't want melanin in her eyes. She wants the sun to burn her eyes out. What logic is that? She wants her hair to be not full of life, but death. She wants to be blonde. She wants to be dead. She wants to lay there and make life happen. What kind of life, though? A dead life. Dead notions given by dead people. Dead notions given by dead people. That is a choice that we make. And I guess we can't say that our minds are we just have to be, I don't know. The trap that we fall into, because alchemy, the understanding that our ancestors are within us. Blackness is nothing but the substance, the melanin, the sun, the solar system. What we believe to be sun shining bright and yellow is really black. And we are a piece of that. And we are blessed to have skin color, to have this, because that shows that you have the soul within you. So you have not just one existence, but you have many existence from the people that you come from, known as our ancestors. But when you add mixture and you change that, you animating yourself. The mixed children, the mulattoes, they end up the mind of the animated souls and the mind of they end up in between worlds. They're in between worlds. This is out. They're in between worlds. They can either hate one and love the other and hate one. So you're gambling with your life, they still say it, when you add mixture. Because you can get stuck and animated again, or you can go and rise above it. You have a choice. But the choice is so, you already made the choice you wanted to be animated. So you have animated, have high, have above this lower dimension. But you're banking on your predecessors to make a choice of whether to go high or low. Because you come back through them, believe me or not, you still will suffer what they endure. Because this is what they call carnation, reincarnation. Reincarnation is not an individual thing. Reincarnation is when you pass away, you go into your people. You recycle back into the people of your choice. If it's the Caucasians, then you recycle back into that. If it's whatever happens, alchemy told you will happen. But you made the choice, you made the decision. Just as many of my ancestors have made a choice, but our choices, they were all about the black, evidently, because of the experience with this white man caused them to, it's just like, it had his head spinning. He couldn't stand it. But the children were coming out black. I wasn't alive then, but I knew these things. I had a sense of these things, of his issue with his grandchildren coming out black. And then I verified it with my grandmother's cousin. And she said, yes, this man had issues with them when they came out black. So it's like a way of having us stuck on this planet. But if you are determined to, alchemy will not have you. Your biological need for freedom should go beyond what you see on this planet, unless you're just already animated by nature. You just veer to that animation part of you and not the strong part of you. But that's the war that's going on. It's alchemy war because it's about melanin, uromelanin, uromelanin versus phenomelanin, and that's it. It's all about what's going to keep the energy down. When the energy is determined in the universe to rise high on this planet. But other factors want to keep the energy low. Because energy, the high rising of the energy is creating psychological issues for those that are not balanced. It's causing chemical issues within the body that's causing diseases for those who are not balanced. And you have the choice. You have the choice. You can either choose what you believe to be fictional, what you believe to be real, which is fictional whiteness, fictional blackness, and look at things from an alchemy point of view. And that's that kind true love, real peace, and the higher stuff within the soul. Until next time, stay true and real to yourself. And love and light.